How's it going, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. We have Evan Young here today, and him and I just got back from Toronto, where we were at eXp. So we want to have a quick conversation about how the eXp was in Toronto, some big milestones that we kind of hit while we were away, and some cool things that we've done in the last couple weeks. So, without further ado, let's dive into some cool stuff.
Yes, and we kind of got away from this a little bit. We just been so tied up with building our business up and getting things rolling and trying to get all our systems in place, and we kind of got away from doing the
last
pod.
week we were in Toronto all last week too, so
Yeah.
that threw a little bit of a wrench into it. But
I was in Florida a few weeks before that,
right?
and it just anyway,
That's all right.
We're back today. We're gonna keep trying to do them here about every couple weeks because I don't know, we just enjoy it. So anyway, yeah, we just got back from Toronto, and eXp. It was 2-day event. We were there for 4.
Was it 2 days?
Yeah. Anyway,
Yeah.
it was
Yeah,
good,
it felt
man.
longer than 2 days. It feels a lot longer because we show up a little bit early too, right? So I just go by the itinerary of like what they recommend to show up for. I find that's
Yeah.
like the best
You're more
way
chill.
to do.
It's more relaxed.
Absolutely, because then we got there that first night and then kind of get to settle in, right? Like I wouldn't have wanted to have done it exactly how Connor did it, where he kind of just shown right up into the
Yeah.
and then you're kind of going right to dinner and kind of being thrown right into it. And it's kind of nice to show up, get everything settled, get the room, get all your clothes kind of set where things need to be, and then go down, know that you're ready, go talk to people, go meet some people. You're
Yeah.
comfortable, you had a good sleep, you're ready to go. And that's those conferences. It's high energy because I'm not used to just having people in front of me for about 16 hours of the day where it's just this constant flow of conversation, like
Constantly talking. Man, I remember the last day. I'm like, I don't know why. We barely worked out, and
no, we did though. We
worked
still
out
got
twice.
We still got 2 workouts in. So,
but I was
normally
exhausted, dude. Like
normally trips take me right out of my workout flow, but we stayed consistent with it. That was one thing I thought because I've been back to the gym too, and I'm like, I'm glad I didn't miss very much working out while we were in Toronto.
But I just mean like I was exhausted. I was done, man.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. No, it's exhausting. It's exhausting. And it's not like we're like actually burning all that much energy. But then you think about it, there is a lot of walking, there's a lot of talking, there's a lot of meeting people, there's a lot of engaged conversation when you're meeting people and it's like you're trying to be as engaged as possible, right? It's almost like being on a podcast for like 16 hours, right?
Yeah.
Where it's like you want to be like in the zone and contributing
Nonstop.
and listening properly and doing all those things. And that it's just a high energy and around all those realtors. It's like that one night that we were at Kirby Chan's after party there.
That was wicked, dude.
That was just a
was
room filled with real estate agents, and it sounded like a jet engine was taking
Everybody
off.
just screaming.
It was just a bunch of people screaming at each other and nobody actually listening to the other person.
Yeah.
No, I'm joking, but it was so loud. It was so loud.
But
my watch was going off. Like it sounded like a jet
man,
engine was taking off, man.
Too loud. But man, we were like so cramped. But that was wicked, man.
Kirby Chan is a brilliant
That
agent.
was wicked.
He's got a really good thing going. He just came over to eXp. He was the Keller Williams like marketing guru who went around
Yeah, that was a big
spot to spot, and then he came over to eXp, and he's been making quite the impact just in his few months here.
I laugh when you seen him in Vegas. You tell me that story, like, Evan, you're never gonna believe it. I ran into Kirby Chan. He's like, you did not see me.
Right. You did not see me here until he was actually able to come over, right?
But
So but he's smart, man. He's got a really good like that's just a smart thing to do. Throw an after party right where the conference is. Also, it's his hometown too. So he's from Toronto.
Yeah,
he's
man.
from Toronto, so he knows that area. So just kind of taking everybody
What
out
an
and doing
investment,
that.
though.
What an
Like,
investment!
what an investment. The food, the drinks, like those tickets were gone, and people were just getting drinks for free. Like
Yeah,
so
I
he
know.
was flipping
yeah.
the whole bill.
Which was actually almost a better system than at some of the
Yes,
eXp con.
I liked it better. It was more social, more chill.
Yeah.
And one thing I really wanted to talk about today, that people
Shout
need.
out Dee Dee Muskoka.
That's a nice mug, man. I like
Yeah,
that.
actually, Jelaine. That's one of Jelaine's mugs, but it just made me think of Dee Dee that we met.
So I met
from
like
Muskoka.
three DDs.
Did you meet 3 Dee Dees?
There was one D, one DD, and one. Yeah, there's a D in the wolf pack. Her name's D.
Okay.
and then we met DD, and
DD,
that's why
yeah.
I
She was from Muskoka.
I was all anyway. I couldn't keep track. There's too many D's and double D's, and remember she's that was hilarious.
That was good. That was good. Yeah, man.
One thing I wanted to say, dude,
Yeah.
is about eXp made a huge change in the company, and
We're talking about the RevShare 2.0.
with the RevShare 2.0. So before this RevShare 2.0 come out, in order to get revenue share, which is when you make money from the company's portion of each deal an agent does underneath you, essentially.
Right.
So you would have to have 5 agents in your first tier 1 through 5.
5 frontline qualifying
yes,
agents to unlock. Yeah.
to unlock your second
FLQAs.
tier. So if Brandon was in my first tier and I did not have 5 agents and Brandon brought somebody in, I wouldn't get compensated for it.
Yet.
Until I had 5 agents unlocked. Now eXp just unlocked that.
The first 4 tiers.
The first 4 tiers are unlocked. So if I'm with eXp, Brandon comes under me, Brandon brings somebody in, the person under Brandon brings someone in, you get paid right down the line, it just literally changed people's lives overnight.
Yeah.
And like it's unbelievable. The company completely is changing all the time to make it better for the agents in order to survive in this tight market. And it's just overwhelming that Glenn Sanford keeps coming up with this stuff, because most brokerages don't change.
No.
They don't adapt, don't change. Everything stays the same. And it's phenomenal, man. It's almost like it's life changing, man. Like
absolutely. Because it unlocks so much more earning potential for every agent, and it unlocks a new revenue stream outside of just closing deals, especially like you said, in a market where the inventory's tight, where there's less business happening all around. EXP's always finding ways to make it better for the agents, which is crazy.
Yeah.
As you said, most brokerages are scaling back on what they're doing and ways that they're paying out people because they're getting tight on cash, is my belief. But
they have to be, because people aren't doing the deals they were.
And then all the overhead, all the brick and mortar costs, all that stuff, all the office expenses, all that stuff adds up real fast. And that's one thing that's so nice about eXp is they're able to reinvest the money back into the agents instead of paying for archaic ways of business.
Yeah, it's crazy. Like if you look at just what the average prices of like commercial rental space today is pretty high. Like every market's different, but it's very high. So a lot of offices are paying like thousands and thousands of dollars a month in office rental fees, printers, papers. Like everybody's paying for all that, right?
Yeah.
And all these admin in there, and we have it all in split second, and they literally just changed our life.
Yeah.
Overnight. And it's been
Now,
coming. Now we're
also-
up 3 years now on it. 3 years we're going on. Yeah. So we have
3 years in December, yeah.
Yeah, so we have
3 years in
we
December.
can really touch on it, about it. So.
Also, too, part of that RevShare 2.0 is when you bring in a new agent, how much can you make off them the first year?
4,000.
$4,000.
Yeah.
It's $4,000 now. So you bring an agent into your front line, and if they're a capping agent, then that year you're going to make $4,000, which is 50% of what the company makes off of that agent, too.
Yeah.
So the company's sharing 50% of their profits off agents for the first year, with agents that are in your front line. And that's huge too. Mm-hmm. That's huge as well. So there's so many huge announcements made, and then also too, cool partnership with BMO. Kind of beside the fact, but there's all these things that are constantly coming out, and it's just like, it just seems like it wasn't that long ago that we just got the announcement of like we're going to be paid within 24 hours.
That
right? Like there's all these things that are happening.
That was in Vegas.
That was in
wasn't
Vegas.
long ago.
No,
that
that
was
wasn't
like
that long ago. So like huge things. And I heard from some other people that there's like other big things that they're working on too. That they just need to massage legally to make sure everything's good. But like they're constantly working on stuff like this.
You know what I love about it too is they make before something's put out, they make sure it's good. Like they don't just put something out. But the 24
they're not just
hour,
saying stuff. Like they're making sure that it's like as soon as they say it, like it's for sure. Like they're not just saying things and then finding out, oh, this software didn't work, so we have to make a correction. It's like they're making sure all that stuff works, and then they're dropping the announcements.
The 24-hour pay thing you said is man, it's nuts. So I just go on the workplace chat. Like I had a closing yesterday. Didn't even pick up the check from the lawyers. Wednesday it closed. Now it's Friday. I still haven't picked up the check from the lawyers.
And you're already paid, probably.
And I'm paid.
Yep.
I already got paid. I didn't pick the check up from the lawyers. It's ExpressPay. They keep like over $1 million in an account at all times.
Oh, it has to be over
for agents to ExpressPay them within 24 hours.
Yeah, it would have to be.
And it's crazy. Like even if we don't have the listing, we're paid before the listing agent even gets paid.
Yeah.
So it's pretty wild. It just keeps getting better and better and better.
And then at the conference, there's a lot of good little takeaways that we learned too. A lot of this stuff comes down to being reminders, because I find everybody's always going around looking for information that they don't have that's going to help them move their business forward. And normally what it is normally it's actually just the fundamentals, and it's us being reminded of what moves the business forward, right? So somebody made a really good quote while we were in one of the breakout sessions, and it was, discipline is the highest form of self-love. And pretty well saying, like, if you can have a disciplined business, that's the best thing that you could do for yourself, because that's going to set you free. Like, discipline is actually freedom. Where it seems counterintuitive, having a schedule and being regimented and constantly focusing on the business would seem overwhelming or daunting or seem like a lot of work, but it's like that's actually going to make life easier for you if you do that. So discipline is the highest form of self-love, and that goes for everything too. Working out, right? It's like, why put yourself through strenuous workouts all the time? Well, it's because it's going to make you feel better overall. It's going to make you perform better overall. Same with your business. If you keep putting that time in and exercising the things you need to do in your business to grow it, then that's going to make the business thrive and be better. It's very similar, and it's cool when you just think about, like, it's just applying the basics to everything.
Yeah, and it's so easy to get it. Once you get to that discipline, it just becomes a part of your life. Like,
and it doesn't feel right when you don't have it.
Yeah, exactly. Like we were just saying before we started recording here, like we both kind of, since we went away and got back, we were kind of out of the groove a little bit.
Yeah.
And it kind of bothers me because I know it's out of the routine a little bit. That's okay. That happens. You're not going to be friggin' perfect 365.
No, but it's just trying to bounce back as fast as possible, I think, is the key.
But at least we realize that, because before, we wouldn't realize that till New Year's the next year. Right.
Really? Well, and it's just bouncing back from it as fast as possible. So for me, it was just like I've fallen out of the routine of the regimented scheduling. It's like I'm still doing the things that I need to do, but they're just not happening in a sequential order like they were last month. Yeah. And I think some of that's just from the getting back from the conference and kind of getting settled back in. I mean, by the time the wheels touched down here in St. John, I was up 12 hours after running a marathon.
Man, Brandon ran 42 kilometers the day after we got back and barely trained. And he's like, yeah, man, I trained. And I'm like, yeah, oh, fucking K, you did. You ran like 15K one here, 20K 1 week, take a 20-day break. And I'm like, you didn't train, man.
No, it's actually true.
And then he finished it.
It's actually true. I definitely need to train harder, because I want to do one under 4 hours, but yeah, I definitely didn't train as much as I should. I talked to a lot of people about that. It's
you sounded like Trump there.
Yeah, I talked to a
lot of people about that. I've talked to a lot of people.
A lot of people said the same thing, and at first it started like it was kind of bothering me, because I'm like, no, I'm training. No, also too, when you like,
I'm the best. I don't need to train.
So when you're thinking about it, right? Like, I know a lot of people are looking at how much miles did you actually put in to train for the marathon, but like I did the 75 hard right before, where I was doing a lot of outside exercises, which were just leisure walks, like not leisure, but I was going pretty hard the first 3 months of the year. So it's not like I was in horrible shape. It was just getting dialed in for that. So then there was that. That's part of the reason why I fell out of the routine just a little bit, because coming into Monday, my nervous system was shocked and I just needed like a day to recover. But man, it's been crazy since we got back. There's been a lot of things going on. I hit 1,000 subscribers on my YouTube channel.
I know. I
hit
love
1,000. That's friggin' wicked. You and I both been on Mike Sherrard's YouTube channel.
Yeah, that was wicked.
That was super cool.
We booked just before we went. We booked our
Another conference.
a conference in, but this isn't just any. We're going to Nashville to Atlas Line Summit. We're actually Brandon and I don't know if anybody knows. If you don't know who he is, you should follow him because he's if you're into this type of stuff. But he's very, very awesome person to listen to. I recently just get his notifications for his podcast.
Yes, Ed Milet's amazing.
So we get to have dinner with Ed Milet, which is insane.
Yep.
And I started speaking of that podcast. I started listening to more of that stuff in the car. I don't listen to music as much right now. I find I love music, but it what it does is it gets me pumped up for a split second.
Right.
And with all like the negative stuff everywhere on social media and in the world today, Brandon, I find listening to like a good good short podcast, like 20, 30 minutes. I like that because I can get it in.
Yeah.
And
especially in drives in between appointments or something.
Drives,
right?
I got to go to town after this, and then I'll probably throw it on, and you get that negative or positive stuff throughout the day, and you're learning things, and it makes a difference, dude.
Oh, it does for sure.
Because like everybody's so negative. Well, not everybody. I shouldn't say that. I don't mean, but there's a lot of it.
Yeah.
And anyway, I started doing that. I'm like, man, I don't even need music, but I love music. But it just gives you that quick like dopamine hit, pump up.
Yeah,
you know,
I like music for like a workout or something.
Yeah. I never did that
I'll
before,
throw tunes on if I'm just like if I'm doing weight workout, something like that, or when I was running the marathon, just a little bit of music there. But sometimes when I'm training, I like listening to podcasts because then it's like that's kind of killing two birds with one stone, where I'm out running, but then also getting some knowledge in too, and I find that can help me focus. But I don't find I focus good on podcasts if I'm lifting weights, because there's a certain point when I'm lifting weights that
you're not.
I seem to black
attention.
out, where I'm just focused on lifting that weight, and then I'll be like, what did they just say on that? But I love podcasts though. I love a good podcast. Audiobooks too.
Do you pay? You got to pay for audiobooks, right?
Yeah, there's different apps you can buy with like subscriptions and stuff. And, But the last good audiobook that I listened to was Dan Martell's "Buy Back Your Time." You'd really like that one.
I bought this app. It's called Wiser.
Wiser, yeah.
Anyway, it has all these books, but that one's not on there, and I really wanted that, so I'm like pissed I bought it because it's paid like $100 for it.
Oh damn, really?
Yeah. So buy back your time, and that
Buy Back Your Time. That's really good one.
That's one of the things we learn when we learn it all the time, but I think that's the big thing. Like Connor was talking about it very, very much. Shout out to Connor Steinbrook. He's an absolute beauty.
If anybody doesn't know who he is, I'll link his podcast right here.
Yes, do it, man. He is Connor's wicked, real true mentor. So definitely a guy we both, I would say, look up to. Yep. What he's done and is just amazing. Anyway, I forget what I was saying before that.
So we're talking about books. Buy Back Your Time.
Oh yes, the time. Yeah. So Connor was like saying. So he's got his time so dialed in that like he won't even. He's like, man, I don't eat lunch because it takes time. I got to think about what I got to eat, what I got to cook, and it takes time. It takes an hour. He goes, I eat at supper time. That's it. I'm used to it. It gives me high energy all throughout the day. Yeah. And he goes, even if I want something to eat, he goes, I order it like Uber Eats or something. He goes, people think it's a waste of money and being lazy. He goes, but no, it takes an hour out of my day when I could be prospecting, calling people, emailing. Because in the evening, you want to spend time with your family. You want to do this, do that. And if you want to be successful and not just money, like life and whatever, like you need to have all your time like perfectly lined up. And like we were saying, we're kind of getting away from that, but we have a lot of things delegated now too, which really helps. Yeah. And you did this before, but you're way better now. And I recognize that, but like before you had the full-time assistant and you're like, ooh, I don't have to do anything. Remember that?
Yeah. Well, and I look back to that, and I think I was almost like craving to. I was burnt out. I was a little bit burnt out, and then so I used that as a excuse. I used it as in the wrong way, because you don't want to hire someone, and then you do nothing. It's like you want to buy back your time so that you can do more, and that's where I messed it up. So I just bought back my time so that I had more time to relax at that point. But
yeah.
You live and learn.
Yeah,
and that
it's true, man. Because like now
that was a hiccup in the business for sure. But
we all have those. If you don't have them, man, you're not doing it right. I don't think. There's nobody that doesn't have hiccups. If you don't have hiccups, then you're staying the same from day one.
So that's just it. And I mean, this is the way that I learn. I have to learn by by doing something.
And
I have to learn by, it's like, don't touch the hot stove. Well, I'm going to touch the hot stove. Oh, that's hot. Okay, now I know not to touch it.
Don't put your finger in the plug.
Right. So, and it's like, I'd rather learn all these lessons now. Like, I mean, I'm what, 31 years old, and we've been doing this for a long time. So it's like, we're going to be doing real well coming into 5-10 years from now. Think of the amount of experience we're going to have, right? At
I know,
40
man.
years old and in business and doing this for 15 years at that point.
It's crazy. We've been doing this. I'm just like thinking about it. I'm like, man, we've been doing this like 6-7 years now.
Right.
And things like, dude, I'm enjoying it now.
Yeah.
Like, I'm having fun now, man.
Oh, me too.
I never enjoyed it before. I didn't.
Yeah, well, because it's
just-
stressful. Well, it's stressful starting off because you're just fighting tooth and nail, and it's
Ooh,
like,
shit.
like,
Sorry,
like
man.
starting off is stressful, right? But you get to a point where it becomes enjoyable, 100%.
Yeah. If
I
you do
enjoy
it
it way
right.
more now.
Yeah.
I want to talk a little bit about Chris Hadfield. Chris Hadfield. So,
Oh, the astronaut.
Yeah,
That
the
was
astronaut
sick.
that we
Yes.
had at eXp
Yeah,
Con.
talk about that.
So, Chris Hadfield, who is a like world-renowned icon, astronaut, and a Canadian too, we had him come and speak to us, and you and I were like pretty well front row. We were the second row back. He was right in front of us, and hearing his talk was really, really, really cool. There was a few cool things that he said that I kind of want to highlight and touch on. One of them being,
First of all, this guy's been to space. He was in space for 166 days at one point.
okay, is that what it was? Yeah, in the International Space Station.
He flew 3 times, and
Yep.
he was in space for
The captain of the International Space Station for a
man.
little bit.
This guy was in space for literally half a year.
Yeah.
And so
Playing guitar in space, like
and
all
everything.
this.
Like he was telling us all about it, what it is and what goes on, and like right into detail. And I was like, okay, like where is this going with real estate? But anyway, I'll let you go on and like talk about it a little bit. But it really resonated with us.
So, and then he talked about how when he comes back from his space missions, when he comes back to Earth and they're pulling him out of this space shuttle that's just been blasted down back into the atmosphere, and he's got gravity all heavy on him, and they're pulling him out, he always comes out thinking, well, what's next? And because he started by looking back at who he was as a boy and always wanting to be an astronaut, and how his whole life has been a series of, well, what's next? So he wanted to be an astronaut. So he's like, well, what should I do to become an astronaut? What does an astronaut need to know? Well, I need to know how to scuba dive. I need to know how to fly, how to be a pilot. So then he joined like the Air Force,
Yep.
and then did all these things that aligned him. So he's always been asking himself, what's next? What do I need to do next to get to where I want to go? And how he said that everybody in this room right now that's here is here because of a series of what's next that they've answered that's put themselves into this room. Everybody said, I want to go to this conference. I want to become a real estate agent. I want to do well in business. And that all brought us together at that moment in that room. And how he said, always make sure that you're thinking what's next. Don't let life kind of happen to you, happen to life. And that was a really powerful message that he was talking about.
That was so cool, dude.
Yeah,
that
the
guy,
what's next. I thought that was really cool, and how he asks himself that every time he comes back to Earth, and he's pulled out of that spaceship, and then he comes back, and gravity's heavy on him. He's like, well, what's next? What's next now? What am I gonna do? Am I gonna do another space mission? What am I gonna do next? And it's so true.
And yeah, we can relate to that because I know it's obviously not going to space and coming back, but like I feel like that with everything, you know. And I think
What's
that's
next?
most entrepreneurs are like that. Okay, what's next?
What's next? Yeah,
what's
always,
next?
right?
That was amazing, and in a
yeah.
roundabout way, he was just like, "Look, this is what I wanted to do. I didn't know how I was gonna do it. I figured it out, and I did it.
Yep.
Right? Like, not everyone gets to go to space. That was his dream.
Yeah.
If you have a dream and you want to do something, like he that's what he's saying. He's like, look, no one's gonna do it. No one's gonna help you but yourself. So don't sit around and wait for somebody to come and give it to you or help you or do it to you. Just
What's
figure
next?
out what you're going to do. Write it down. Do it. What's next? Just like when we were in that breakout session. I'm glad you brought it up yesterday because I had that written down, but I didn't know when the fella, Brian, the top mastermind.
Yes. Yeah.
He was saying, like, if you want to do if you want to be a top producer, but you're doing things that $250,000 earners are doing,
You need to stop
you need to
doing
stop
those.
doing those things. You
Stop
need to
doing the
figure
things,
out
yeah.
what the 500,000 or the $1 million producers are doing in any sort of business, whether it's sales, marketing, real estate, anything in the world, and you need to figure that out and do those activities, because what you're doing is not working.
Yeah.
What's
Well,
next?
it's not working to
What's
where you
next?
want to go, right?
Right.
Yeah, not working. Because, yeah, he was saying to stop doing things. He's like, if you're at, let's say, $200,000,
Yeah.
but you want to be at 400, well, you need to stop doing the things that the $200,000 earners do and start doing
I
the
really
things that
like
the
that,
$400,000. And it's like, oh, is that ever right? Because you always think that I need to do more. What I need to do is more, but it's like maybe you need to stop doing some things.
Right.
And people don't look at it that way. Another really cool thing that Chris Hadfield said, and I really liked it, was one of the last questions. Somebody asked him about, does he have any regrets?
Yes.
And he
really went deep
and he
into
said,
that,
He
yeah.
said he tries to live life without regrets. He tries to live a life that he's not going to have regrets from, which I find very admirable. And I also
I really liked what he said, though.
want to do that as well. And then he said, but there was one moment that he said you can't compare what would have happened in your life to another scenario. Like, there's no test group, because you can't say, well, life would have been like this if I did that. He said, but one of his possible regrets was sending his kids back to Canada, because when he was in Texas at NASA, he didn't like the school system there. So he sent his kids back to a Canadian like boarding school kind of deal. And he said he wasn't sure if that was a mistake. But I loved what he said after that, because he said he did that with his best intentions for his kids. He says, but he's not sure what would happen if he decided to keep them in the Texas school system. However, he said this quote that was so powerful, and it was, I sacrifice my good intentions on the altar of reality. And I thought that was such a powerful quote, because it's like we all go through life trying to navigate it and trying to do the perfect thing, but there's never going to be a perfect answer. There's never going to be a perfect outcome. It's just, if we can go through it giving our best intentions and sacrificing those best intentions on the altar of reality, then that's almost the best that we can ask.
100%, man. And I loved how he said that too about his kids, because anyone with kids like myself, you're always wondering, like even my kid's going to elementary next year. It's like, should I send him to this one or this one? What if I send him to this one? He doesn't like it, or like any little like, and
Right.
I think like just do in the moment what you think is right and stick with your gut.
Right.
And just go with it.
Right.
Right.
Just doing what you
because
believe
you're
to be
never gonna
right.
get it right. There's always gonna be something wrong with one decision or the other.
Yep.
Right.
Yep.
So
And that's what
just
he means
enjoy
by
it.
sacrificing his good intentions on the altar of reality, meaning that the reality is just like what you said. There's always going to be a bad thing that happens. There's always going to be something that might not be
Pro
perfect.
or a con.
A pro or a con.
Yeah.
Right? I sacrificed my good intentions on the altar of reality. I was like,
So-
holy shit.
So going
is
to
that
all
ever
these
powerful?
going to all these conferences that eXp puts on, I know a lot of people have them, but like these are the people they're bringing in, right?
Yeah.
And it's not, like it's just so cool to hear from these people and to get around it and to get around the right mindset, and it keeps you going, and you're around all these people that are so happy for you to see you do good and push you harder and push you further. And every time we go, we get
new connections, but then
better
deepening the
friends
connections that we've met
have.
from previous ones too. And that's an even more important part I find about the conferences is the connections too, and actually getting in front of these people and meeting them, and and then it's literally like extensions of our friend group at this point now, right?
Dude, I think
these are really people that we know. They're actually friends. It's
man, when we
crazy.
go away, like I can't wait to see how.
It's like you were saying before, you're like, man, there's like somebody in like every province that we know now. There's somebody on like every almost corner of the world at this point
Yeah,
that
like-
we know because of the conferences that we've been to.
yeah, with eXp, like because we're global, like we have friends probably, if not in all, pretty much like legit friends.
Yeah.
That would probably like now in every province across Canada,
Yeah.
and a lot of states, and some other countries.
Yeah.
It's so friggin' cool,
So
like
cool.
to get out and I mean, but I love going away, but I think sometimes we take for granted New Brunswick because people complain about New Brunswick a lot, but it's really nice to get
It's
back.
really nice, man.
Get
It's
back
really
here.
nice. Like I was in Toronto and it wasn't that special.
No, Toronto.
That was cool. Seeing
Yes,
the Jays
Brandon
game.
went to his first Jays game.
Evan and I went to a Jays game together. Yeah, that was my first one ever.
Yeah.
I didn't realize how passionate you are about baseball. I didn't know that you were such a
baseball.
I didn't know
man.
you were a big baseball fan.
But I will say, for any Jays fans out there going to the games this year, a little disappointed in the foot-long hot dogs. Fuck,
yeah.
they were not good at all.
Yeah,
like,
no, I know. They could have used some relish or something, man. Like
they were just like, fuck.
yeah, they weren't
No.
special. Do you know what was really good though? The pizza.
Pizza.
The pizza was
Pizza Nova.
that was so
Shout
good.
out to Pizza Nova.
Shout out to Pizza Nova in the Rogers Center.
Yeah.
Shout out to the stairs in the Rogers Center too.
Oh
that
my
ramp
god!
going.
Yeah,
Jeez.
and then we're about to leave, then find the elevator. I'm like, yeah, we could have used that. The first
Yeah, we found
time.
the elevator at the very end there. What a nice stadium, though. What a cool stadium. And I
It's
didn't
wicked,
realize
man.
that Rogers owns that. I didn't know that they own the Jays
They
as
own
well.
the Jays,
what
yeah.
a profitable spot, man. I mean, that's like its own little city in there. There was like a social bar that you could go to. There was like a whiskey
Like,
cocktail
that's-
bar.
like,
there
you
was
could just,
like
people just go like
stores.
we were saying. I said I
we
don't
just walked
think
around at one point. Just went shopping
I
mid
think
game
most
there.
people don't even watch the games.
Right. Well,
Like they're just going there to
half the
hang
seats
out.
were empty and half the people were all just
Yeah.
walking around hanging out and stuff. And what a cool venue though. I mean, like I didn't
Smart.
expect that, man. Now I would love to see it with the Sky Dome open, like you were
Oh,
saying,
yeah.
with the
CN Tower right
CN
there.
Tower right above. That would be
Yeah.
really, really sharp.
It
I
was-
can't believe that they just do baseball there, like that they don't use that for like concerts or anything.
I don't know. Like that's a. I mean, you'd have to have a big concert because that seats like 40,000 people, man.
Is that what it is? Yeah.
Yeah.
There's people that could sell that out
Yeah.
in Toronto, especially.
I-
Get someone like Snoop Dogg there or something crazy.
Yeah,
Get the Rolling
maybe
Stones.
they do use it. I don't know. I don't go to. I've never been to a concert in Toronto. The Stones would sell it out.
Oh, for sure.
100%.
For sure. Even still today.
I do have to run because
we
it's
gotta-
22. I gotta go to appointment here to sign off on
On the mini home.
that big mansion.
The big mansion.
Yeah.
It's going to be. Is there anything that we want to end on?
No, I mean, we'll just keep going.
Yeah.
I just wanted to
I think the only other thing would be just kind of mentioning like the wolf pack and like the presence of the wolf pack there. There was
Yeah.
a lot of people from the wolf pack, and
Yeah.
we're one of the only groups that show up to these conferences wearing our swag. Everybody's got the hats. We're all linking up.
And you know what I like
finding
too
each other
about all
and-
the pack people? They're all real.
Yep.
Authentic, real, and we take pride.
We have a
in
really
that.
good culture,
We have
man.
a really good culture,
We have
and
a
it's
really
all
good
real.
culture.
There's no bullshit. There's no fake. There's no nothing.
Yeah.
You, and that's what we and again in success. It's like it's so many different ways to succeed. Like we were talking about fitness and everything, and like we take pride in being ourselves.
Yep.
And we're basically like taught that hard. Like be yourself. If
Yeah.
you like wearing a hoodie, wear a hoodie.
Well, it's funny,
You don't
actually.
wanna wear a suit? Don't wear a suit. Like,
I was just walking around out to Second Cup, and there was an agent from St. John. I'm not going to say any names, but he stopped me, and he's a well-known agent around here, and he said, Brandon, I see everything you're doing on social media, and he said, it's awesome. Like, he said, the videos you're doing with Evan, you guys are so relaxed.
Wicked, man.
He said it's professional, really highlights who you guys are, and then I said to him,
That
I
is
said,
cool to hear, man.
and I
'cause
said,
we don't get that.
No, I know we don't get
Like
that
we
a
get
lot.
a lot of grief.
So I said to him, I said, well, the nice thing is that the only thing that really differentiates a lot of real estate agents is, I said, because everybody offers a similar service. Now, there's going to be levels of that service, but at the end of the day, what really makes us unique is who we are as people, and the way that we build relationships with people, and who we are, and the type of people that we want to work with and that want to work with us is what differentiates each real estate agent. Yeah. And I think it's important to throw yourself out there to highlight who you are. So then that's going to open up the net of who would want to work with you. It builds relationships at scale, and that's the power of social media. So he was giving us credit. So that was
I
really
love
cool.
that, man.
That
Because
was really,
we don't
really
get
cool.
that at all very often.
Yeah.
I heard real quick on that, just to build off what you just said. I had I got a listing just went up, and I didn't know the person at all, and she called me and seen it on Facebook, and she seen my name and went through all my stuff and seen what we're doing. Same thing. It was like, I really like your guys' stuff.
Yeah.
And I love that, and I see you're real people, and it's crazy.
Right.
If you're just real and not somebody you don't want to be, because people aren't going to want to work with you. Some people aren't going to want to work with you anyway,
Right.
in general. So
Right. No, exactly. And then just being able to pull somebody up and like scroll through and listen to them, like just listen to the way they talk and hear a conversation that they had with someone else too. I think it's extremely powerful, man. I
Yeah.
think we're onto something that's gonna prove to be good down the road. So it's
Absolutely,
already working
brother.
out good. We're getting great feedback from everything we're doing, and
Yep.
I think we just need to keep doing it, man.
Let's go. Let's end on that.
Right on.
Cheers,
Cool, cool.
guys. Have a good one.
Thank you.